with everything we said, why do we celebrate, publicize, share the miracles?
Yes, there's such long lists. Natalie's saying such a long list. And we all should feel that. Such a long list. Like, that's exactly what it should be. It should be like, which one should I tell you? Which one should I share? My most recent one, the one that got me more excited, the one from last week. It was, I mean, this is a very small thing, but you know, small things sometimes can throw you. But it was, it was last week. See, it's not, I don't even want to call them miracles. I don't know if I call them miracles. They're not miracles. There's God's kindness. I'll call them God's kindness. Not exactly a miracle, but definitely felt like God's kindness. First, on Wednesday, my son tells me this whole thing, how he lost his retainers on this bus with a bunch of kids. And, what a long, long, long story, but like totally impossible. Like, forget it. He gave up on it. Like, there's no way he was going to find the retainers on this bus that was absolutely trashed and filthy and clear little retainers on this whole bus. And again, not going through the long story, he found them. Like, totally impossible. He found them. That was Wednesday. Thursday, I do my children's taxes, most of my children's taxes. And my son, when they gave back his refunded his money, I saw they gave less money. And every time I tried calling the IRS, I never get through. Once I finally got through, like just a miracle, I got through. And then they said I couldn't talk for him. And then, so I said to my son, like, you have to make the call. They won't let me call for you. Once you make the call, you can hook me in and I could speak for you. And I told him, man, I wasn't pushing so much. I know he's very busy. I figured it's his money, you know, when he wants, he'll make the call. But I told him and I told him a second time. And then the third time I said, you know, you should make the call because now you're on your summer break, so it's easier. But again, I didn't push because like I'm just his mother and he's a busy person. But so first miracle, he got through. That was like, oh my gosh, I call days, I don't get through. You call, you get through. It was amazing. So I was already like, wow, look at that. To me was a clear miracle. Looking at the letter we spent, of course, 4 hours on the phone. And then, of course, we got disconnected, which happened to me twice already. When I did get through, I got disconnected. At that point, we already got disconnected. We had done enough work that, whatever, not to go into all the details, but we got disconnected. But at least I know we made good progress. But what did I see? So in the 4 hour plus that we're talking to the IRS, I'm looking at the letter they sent, explaining why they gave him significantly less money than I thought they were supposed to. And on the back side, which I never noticed, they write, you have to if you don't accept what we write, you have to contest it by August 19th. And if it's after August 19th, like you lose your ability to contest it. I never noticed that line. Don't ask. I never noticed it. My son called on August 18th and he got through. And August 19th was Friday. I mean, there's no way on Friday we would have been on the phone with the IRS for all those hours. So literally August 18th was the last day he could make the call. And he happened to make the call then and got through and spoke. And I was like, and then something happened to one of my children, not so good, so to speak, not a big problem, but something. And I was like, you know what? It's the same God. The same God that had that child find his retainers impossible, that had this son call on the last possible day to call, not that either of us realized, and got through, and only got disconnected after 4 hours, so we achieved something. It's the same God that's doing that as well. I think that's also, obviously, celebrating the miracles is a way of bringing redemption, is a way of publicizing God in the world, is a way of living redemption, because redemption is a time when everywhere we look, we see God. But I think also it's very good for us if we're so conscious of all the kindnesses, of all the great stuff that God's doing for us. So when something happens that we don't love, we could say, as I said to myself that day, literally, it all happened on the same day, the good and the other stuff. I'm like, it's the same God. The same God that's doing this is doing this. Here I'm all excited and it's amazing, it's unbelievable, and there's many, many more details I'm not telling you. And actually a few other amazing things that happened that day. He did this and he did this and he did this and he did this. He did this. It's the same God. So it makes us look at the other stuff with a different eye, because it's that same God and he's taking such good care of me. So if he's doing this, that other thing that I don't appreciate at the moment, it's part of his love, it's part of his care, it's part of his goodness. Can I see it as such? I can process it as such. I can understand it as such, because it's all coming from that same God. So that's another great side benefit, so to speak, from really relishing the miracles, relishing God's kindness, sharing them, being excited about them,
Christelle?
Um, I have a question about the sharing. I definitely agree and believe that there are so many miracles, and we experience them every day. And like you were saying, we have these things that happen to us that maybe, we do have to pray. We do have to, charity and serve God better and pray and do all these things. And maybe those things are happening for that purpose, for us to channel us in this way. And so maybe we'll have certain conversations with certain people, and we're supposed to impact other people's lives in different ways, or give other people the opportunity to help us, or, who knows the end reason for some of these things. But I'm always curious about sharing, because, things come up and stuff. And I guess I'm always afraid that if I share, that I will make somebody potentially, feel bad about their situation, or that it will, I don't know. Does that make sense?
I totally hear you. What you're saying is a very true point. And we should share with sensitivity. Meaning, if a person is talking to someone who's going through a tremendous financial crisis, and relatively speaking, they're far better off, and then they share this financial miracle they just had, it might make the other person feel really bad. Like, you had that financial miracle? Well, you don't need it, I need it. And then you're getting the miracle and I'm not getting the miracle. Or change the window dressing to any other situation. It's absolutely true. So we are supposed to share, and in a sense, we don't want to be too cautious. Like, there is a sense of like, well, a miracle is a very private, intimate thing between me and God, and you don't, put intimacy out there for public display. But now we do, because it's such a powerful tool for ourselves to celebrate our relationship with God, and to inspire others to have that relationship with God, that we're putting something private on display. But at the same time, as you're saying, if you know a person and you know their situation, and this specific story is going to make them feel bad, so then you don't say it to them. If you find you're always not sharing your miracles because you're always fifth guessing yourself, then you're overdoing it. And no. But if occasionally to certain people, because their situation, this would exactly be perhaps very hurtful, you don't say it, and you do say it to many other people, so then that's good, and that's being sensitive. But if you don't say it and don't say it and don't say it, because everyone you find another reason, who knows, perhaps, maybe, what do I know about their life, so better I should err on the side of caution, because God wants you to publicize the miracles, as we're seeing from the Talmud. Like God says, if I make these miracles. In other words, publicizing the miracles is a very strong way of saying, God, I know it's you. I'm taking you out of your disguise, and I appreciate it. I love you, and I love you for taking such good care of me and showing me such love. Because every miracle is really a sense of like a hug. You feel you're getting a hug from God. You feel how much God loves you and God's there for you, and that's such a wonderful feeling. And when we're sharing the miracles, like we're giving the hug back. It's like we get it. We know it's you. And we really, really, really appreciate how much you're there for us. So it's good to be sensitive. But if you find the sensitivity keeps preventing you from sharing, then the sensitivity is not coming from it. But when appropriate, if in general you're sharing and then occasionally you don't, because of knowing a person's specific issue, then that makes perfect sense. Okay, so we discussed what's too much physical effort. And too much physical effort, we said basically as the effort that makes you forget it's from God. When you're over prioritized. When if there was a conflict between serving God and that effort, you would put that effort first. Too little, not making effort at all. Not giving God like a hook to hang his hat on, so to speak. Not giving him any space to get under that cloak of nature. So now that we know what's too much, and now that we know what's too little, what's the perfect amount? And we are going to have to stop at this point. So to be continued next week, God willing, what is the perfect amount of effort we're supposed to make? That's not too much and not too little. Thank you so much for joining. Hope gave you some food for thought on this topic, which definitely is flowing from what we've discussed in the past 2 weeks. And we should be able to use it, all of us, and we should all receive the miracles, notice the miracles, celebrate the miracles, share the miracles, and feel God's love in the miracles.